Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video tonight, I'm going to show you what I would do to winterize my Class C RV. We're in the latter part of the year. It's December, and we're going to have some really cold weather come. I believe the whole country's having some cold weather, and the next couple of days we're going to be below 20. So I definitely want to winterize a camper to make sure no pipes bust. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I do to winterize my camper. I'm not going to do a full winterization step, but I should say process, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to winterize my RV to make sure that it can, uphold through the cold weather we're about to have. So let me show you the steps I want to take. This is where my water tank is at, and you have two screws here that I've already unscrewed here, and pull this up right here, this level right here, you pull it up, and this is going to release all the water that's in my fresh water tank. And you let that go out. It's already been drained, but once you lift this lever up, all the water that's in here will flow out. There's a pipe down here at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it, but all the water will flow out onto the ground outside. And then I'm going to show you the next step of what I do to winterize my RV. Okay, guys, so this right here is my hot water heater, and I'm going to drain the water out of it. It's very important that you do this because you have water that's inside the coils of the hot water heater. If you allow it to freeze, it can, when water freezes, it expands. And if it's in a pipe, it could, burst the pipe. And that could be a very costly, expensive fix to have to replace your water heater. So I'm going to drain that now. I'm about to show you how to drain that water, and let me show you the bolt you have to take out on. This is a Freedom Elite Class C mobile home, and so it should be pretty similar to a lot of rigs out there, but I'm going to just show you how I'm going to do it on my rig. It's probably very similar to yours too, if you're trying to figure out how to winterize your rig. Okay, so this is my hot water heater here, and the next thing I want to do is we already drained all the water out of our fresh water tank. It came out of the spout up under here, and if you look at the ground here, you can see all the water has flowed out. But the next thing I need to do is I need to get the water out the hot water tank or the hot water heater, because there's water inside the coils and the pipes and things in there, and it's going to be below freezing tonight and multiple nights this week. So we all know when water freezes that it causes the pipes and everything to expand, and that can cause very costly, expensive repairs on your hot water heater. So you definitely want to do that. So the first thing you want to do is, you see this latch, this lever here, you want to release the pressure. I did that, and now I want to take these pliers here, and I'm going to go to this knob here, loosen it up, get the water out. And I got this towel here. There's going to be a lot of water everywhere. I want to clean it up, make sure there's no water going to freeze on here, and also make sure nothing really gets on the wires as much as possible. It's going to get some water on the wires, but that's just part of the process, so be aware of that. All right, so release the pressure here. And the next thing I want to do now is I'm going to take these pliers here, and I'm going to try to loosen this up. And I just basically just get this here and just loosen it up. There's going to be a lot of water coming out. That's what you want to do. See, I'm loosening this up here. It's kind of a tight space. All right, loosen it up here. Let's see if I can get my hand up in there now. So for the sake of time, I sped up this process, but I found it was a little bit easier to just use your hand to unscrew it and get the water to come out. And you see all the water is gonna begin to flow out. See? All the water is going to flow out. Just like that. You wanna get all that water out, let that drain, and then we'll go to the next step of blowing at the water lines. All right, as you can see here, all the water is pretty much drained out, and we do have a little bit of water that's around it that spilled out. I'm gonna, so as you can see, all the water is pretty much drained out of the water heater, and we do have a lot of water around here. So I like to just take a rag and just kind of wipe it up as much water as possible, because that's water that can freeze in there, and just want to make sure that nothing is going to be frozen, because this is going to be below freezing temperatures. So this is what I like to do. I just get a rag and just wipe up in here, try to get as much of this water out as possible. Don't want nothing freezing. And then after that, we'll take our cap and put it back on. All right, so tighten that back up, tight as you can, and screw that back on there, just like you found it before. And then we'll move on to the next part. Okay, so all the water has been drained out of the fresh water tank, out of the water heater. And now the next thing I want to do is, some people don't do this, but I like to do this, is try to blow as much water out of the pipes as possible. And so the way I do that, I use this little doohickey here. This way I'm going to connect it to my sanitation valve, and I'm going to use my air compressor to blow as much water out of the lines as possible. And because that's the whole goal, we don't want to have any water in the lines as much as possible. So I'm gonna show you what I do now. All right, so this is my little air compressor here, and I'm going to attach my little valve here to my hose, and then this end I'm going to screw it in and attach it right here to my sanitation valve to try to get as much water out of my system as possible. So as you can see, I have this screwed onto here in this valve. I'm going to turn on my air pump and blow as much air out of the system as possible. The length and time that you take to blow as much water out through the system by using your air compressor is totally up to you. I let it run for maybe a few seconds or maybe a couple minutes or whatnot. But that's totally up to you, but you just want to try to get as much water out as possible. Okay, before I go forward, I want to show you that component is actually two pieces. This is the part that's actually going to go into your air compressor, the female part of the hose. This is the male end, and this is a coupler like you would find like up on your like a hose. It's threaded on both sides. This will screw into here to make that connection. You might be able to find all in one piece like on Amazon, but this is what I did. First buy this piece, and then you can get this same piece to go in here to actually make the connection. One key thing that I probably failed to mention that's very, very important if you're going to do this is to make sure that you empty your black water and your gray water tank. That's water as well, and that can freeze, and you don't want to have a frozen, poopy, stinky black tank. You definitely don't want to do that. So the next thing I want to do is I want to get as much water out of my sink as possible. And so to do that, because I've already emptied my gray water tank and my black water tank, any water that's going to come out this faucet here will go into my gray water tank. So I don't want any more water on there. So I get a bucket here, and I'm going to just turn on the water, and I'm going to turn on the water, and I'm going to turn on the pump and the water, see if there's any other water that can come out of here. So go into this bucket, and then I will discard it outside. All right, so there's not much water, but there is a little bit of water coming out. And so definitely want to try to get as much water to come out the system as possible. I did turn on the water pump, so it's pumping any water it can out of the system. And that's what we want. We want to get as much water out of the system as possible. Okay, all of the water that I could get out of the kitchen sink faucet is out. And we did have quite a bit of water that came out. You can see here, had quite a bit of water. Hold it up. Here, that's quite a bit of water that came out of the fresh water tank. Now, the reason why I believe that happened, and this is something to think about, is because when I drained the fresh water tank, I was kind of on a slope. I did not level the camper. And so as a result, I believe that when it drained, it still had some water back towards a back corner of the fresh water tank. So that's something I would highly recommend that you make sure that you do, is to level your rig prior to emptying your fresh water tank. It'll probably save you a lot of time, as I just realized right now. So I went ahead and did the same thing for my bathroom sink, and I'm going to do the same thing for my shower as well, to try to get as much water out as possible. Once I do that, I want to take it out and dump it outside, because you definitely do not want it to go inside of your gray water tank. That could freeze as well, and that's the whole point of why we're trying to get as much water out of the system as possible. Okay, so I've drained my fresh water tank. I've emptied my hot water heater. I blew as much air out through the system as possible to get the much water out. I turned on my water pump, and I tried to make sure I get as much water out of my kitchen faucet, my sink faucet, and my shower as possible. And this is the very last step that I do. You put some of this antifreeze, winterize safe, and it's specifically made for RVs, boats, campers, and things of that nature. You can pour it on your drains, the kitchen sink, the bathroom sink. I'm gonna put some on my toilet, and also into my shower. Now, this is the process I do that some people do. They actually pour this into their fresh water tank, and then they turn on the water pump, and then turn on all their faucets and let this stuff flow through their faucets, and then they know that, hey, you've fully done your system. I'm not going to do that, and that is the best way to do it, I do believe, but this is the way I'm going to do it. Why? Because it's only going to be this way for a little bit, as far as the cold, really frigid temperatures, or the temperatures where it could really freeze. The temperatures, especially where I live out in the South Carolina, we don't have excessive temperatures like that, to where you need to store it for months and months at a time. I plan to actually use my RV even during the winter. So I'm going to just pour some of this down the drain, the sink, the bathroom faucet, the toilet, and the shower. And I believe that's going to be what I need to do. So I'm pouring this antifreeze gel. This is down the kitchen sink. I'm also going to pour some down my bathroom sink. Put some in the toilet, and you also want to put some inside of your shower as well. All right, so that's what I do. That's my process. Like I said, I do believe that the best way to do it is to put the antifreeze anti-gel inside of your fresh water tank, turn on your water pump, and then turn on your faucets and let it come through your system. That is the best way to do it. But this is what I've been doing, and I haven't had any problems. But I'm just going to show you my way how to do it. But it's very, very important that you do something, because if you purchase a rig, it's an investment. You use it, your family enjoy it. You don't want to have to shell out lots of money in repairs for your rig, because that could potentially keep you from going out and enjoying the rig, and you definitely won't want to do that. So that's what I do. This is my process. I haven't had any problems, but I will say this. Um, I believe this is working for me because I do live in the South and we do not get excessive cold temperatures. Now if I lived up somewhere up north where we get a lot of snow, a lot of freezing temperatures, I would do the more detailed way of pouring it into my water tank, turn on the water pump, let it flow through my system. But this is what I do. On really, really cold nights, I will even come out here and I have it plugged up in my house, plugged up to my house. So I will come and turn on the heater just to have some heat inside of the camper. I think that helps as well. But that's just something to keep in mind. But the main thing is you want to get as much water out of your system as possible. Get some anti-freeze, anti-gel, put in your plumbing. Get as much water out of your system by using your air compressor. But first and foremost, the very first thing that you have to do is to empty your black and your gray water tank. If you don't do that, then everything else you're doing is going to be basically for nothing because that can freeze as well. So that's what I do. If you have a different process, things that you do, maybe there's something you say, hey, you're not doing this right or whatnot, or something that you think is better than the way that I could do it. Hey, I don't claim to know everything about this. I am a newbie to this RV thing, but I'm loving it. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of work involved to it, but I am loving it. And so I just want to show you my process, but I'm also open to learn from you as well. So if you do have some suggestions, comments, criticisms, put them in the comment section. I would love to read your comments to see what I can do better. Or if you know, if you just want to just say, hey man, you don't know what you're doing, hey, I'll read those as well. But as always, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on hopefully an adventure next time you come to the channel. Blessings.